Dude, another fighting game collection. This is unbelievable. We're getting some classic games that most of us never even got a chance to try for ourselves. I mean, I haven't even played some of these. The latest collection reveal was with the trailer for the Capcom Fighting Collection 2. With a title like that, I was curious as to what games would be included because the first Capcom Fighting Collection came with an interesting set of games. They got Red Earth, Night Warriors, Vampire Hunter 2, Vampire Saviors 1 and 2, Cyberbots, Darkstalkers, Super Gem Fighter Minimix, and I hadn't even played any of those before. But Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, I got to experience this one thanks to the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection, a favorite of mine. But what was missing from that collection was Hyper Street Fighter 2 Anniversary Edition, and that was one I really wanted to try for myself. And now they revealed 3 surprises. One, the announcement that Marvel vs. Capcom Collection is coming out in September 12th this year. And they're including Norimaru, who was said to not be included at first. Third huge surprise is that next year we're getting the Capcom Fighting Collection 2, and this is what's in store for us. I've never played Power Stone 1 or 2, Project Justice, Plasma Sword, and thanks to the various Street Fighter collections like the 30th Anniversary Pack, I've been able to enjoy Street Fighter Alpha 3 on modern consoles. Capcom Fighting Evolution has a bad rep, and I haven't played it before, I have played it, but not enough to tell whether it's dope or not. But Capcom vs. SNK 1 and 2? Already? That is definitely the duo that we've all been hoping for. And I played the hell out of CVS 1 on PS1 and played the shite out of CVS 2 on PS2. And now we're able to experience these golden nuggets with online matchmaking? This is honestly becoming a good year for fighting games. I got a list of fighting game collections that I got to have in the future. Well, that we all gotta have, of course. We all gotta share these bad boys together. Starting with the Tekken collection. Tekken has been great from the start, regardless of how polygonal the character models were. Everything was great about it. I mean, the gameplay, the soundtracks, all those unlockable characters, their cinematic endings, and no wall juggling. It was the best. We've had Tekken 1 and 2 released, but no Tekken 3 lately. And that is the greatest of the trilogy. But can you believe that the only reason why we haven't had Tekken 3 released on modern consoles is because of that damn little dinosaur? It's from a separate franchise, one that I'm sure almost no one even knew about, literally. This little live Yoshi isn't even worth bringing back. Fans would rather have Dr. Boskanovich come back, an old man that mostly planks on the floor throughout a fight. Yeah, we'd rather have that guy over this little doofus. Hopefully the devs over at Namco can find a loophole to release Tekken 3 in an HD collection so that we can finally enjoy this classic for what it was. But if it is possible to bring it back, would they release the PS1 version or the arcade version? Or both? I would prefer both so that we can also enjoy the Tekken Force mode. The DOA collection. The Dead or Alive collection, this is one that I have been enjoying on the original Xbox. And it really is a collection worth going back to. Ultimate DOA 2 and 3 have some of the best features that the latest DOA title has ignored. These included Tag Team, a killer soundtrack, a story mode that does not suck, so many costumes will unlock, mainly the chicks, because it's DOA, no problems there. But trust me when I say that if you love 3D fighting games more for the graphics, well, DOA 2 and 3 Ultimate have stellar graphics. If a collection were to be made, they wouldn't even need to sharpen the graphics. They could just release them the way they are now and everyone would be under the impression that they were remastered. Enjoying these babies on the OG Xbox is one thing, but we don't have access to online matchmaking anymore. So that'd be the only improvement they could start with. They also gotta add DOA 4. It's the only game in the series that I haven't tried yet since it only released on the Xbox 360. And the only Xbox I've owned was the first one. If you're confused as to which Xbox I'm talking about, blame Microsoft for their outstanding job on naming their console iterations. Next in line is the 3D era of Mortal Kombat. Yeah, we need the MK 3D era collection for sure. This would include Deadly Alliance, Deception, and Armageddon. Ironically, Deadly Alliance was not exactly well received. Same goes for Armageddon, and I think that's because the first game, Deadly Alliance, was a major upgrade in character designs, graphics, and gore, but I felt like it was missing so much. Then Mortal Kombat Deception came out, and that was perfect because the devs listened and they included everything that was lacking, such as more characters, more fatalities, harakiris, stage fatalities, puzzle combat, and Conquest Mode, that was this open world game where you actually get to explore the realms of Mortal Kombat. That was perfect. Then Armageddon came out, and as you know, well, when it comes to products like a movie or a game, the sequel needs to be bigger, right? So what happens when they make a third part? It needs to be bigger than the previous product, and at that point, it either turns out too big to fit, resulting in cutting features, or it's just too much shit everywhere that it becomes a cluttered mess. And unfortunately, that's how MK Armageddon feels like. But regardless of that, it has its charms. For every pro, there's a con. We get every single character now playable, but most of them are broken. Motaro is back, but he's missing his back. Sub-Zero has his iconic default costume from Deception, but they removed his dragon fighting style, which was my favorite. But again, regardless of all the negatives that came with Armageddon and even Deadly Alliance, I want to play those titles on the PS4, especially if that means I can finally play against others online, because I never got to experience that. But to really complete this collection, I would want to see the handheld ports of these titles included as well. That's right! I enjoyed the crap out of Deadly Alliance on the Game Boy Advance, especially its updated title, Tournament Edition. And the greatest addition to them all, Mortal Kombat Unchained. This is the definitive version of MK Deception, as it was only released on the PSP, and it included everything from Deception and more. And you know that Deception was already packed with a lot of content, so Unchained is, in my opinion, the underrated version to the core. And we gotta have these port titles included. And could you imagine what it would be like to have an online mode for all these MK gems? Dude, I'll tell you this. If Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition had an online mode, I'd actually be excited for it. The graphics may be a huge difference when compared to Deadly Alliance on consoles, but it kept the same gameplay, the same music. You can still switch between fighting styles, and it included a tag team mode. Oh yeah, and they also included weapon fatalities and extra characters that were not in the console versions. I bet I'm the only one who got competitive and excited with this game. Next, here's an obvious one. When are we getting the Dragon Ball Z Budokai collection? And I mean the complete collection, because Budokai 2 has been excluded when they tried releasing this collection. And I don't recall seeing Shin Budokai 1 or 2 in there as well. So this needs to be made the right way. These are major classics. Before getting the perfect Dragon Ball Z experience, this was the closest we got to at the time. And the new generations have to give it a shot. If released, all original soundtracks need to be included as well. I mean, I don't care what they say about the music composer making tracks that sounded too familiar to legendary rock songs, because to me, it was more like an alternative to include those legendary rock songs, eh? But if you ask me, the true DBZ experience came with the Tenkaichi series, and even though Budokai Tenkaichi 4 is on its way, I'm about 100% sure that they'll ruin it, because everything you're gonna want will be behind a paywall. And if Tenkaichi 3 had over 150 playable characters, then Tenkaichi 4 needs to be bigger. And what'll that mean? About 100 to 200 plus characters, all that are going to be hidden behind that juicy paywall. Puta madre. That's just scamming the players, man. Here's the last collection I want to mention on this list. It's a collection that most players in the US haven't even had a chance to experience or even knew about. The Power Instinct series. One problem for starters is that they mostly released outside the US. Second problem was that the titles they went with, they were always different. They weren't the same. They weren't like consistent in a way. Like it wasn't all titled Power Instinct 1, 2, 3 and so and so. Like they were different. You had one called Power Instinct, the next one's called Rage of the Dragons, another one's called Matrimony, and then the other ones have a whole different title I can't even pronounce. The best way to describe the Power Instinct series is by comparing it to the King of Fighters. that's kind of how it is. You get characters from separate games competing in this one tournament game. Here we got characters from like Double Dragon, such as Billy, Jimmy, and Abubo. I haven't played all these titles yet, only the first two Power Instinct games and Rage of the Dragons and Matrimony. And trust me when I say that, the Rage of the Dragons and Matrimony are off the hook. A couple years ago, it was announced that Rage of the Dragons would be ported to modern consoles, but nothing happened. I only got to experience these thanks to Mexico and all their modded arcade machines. But what the hell? When are we getting to shine some light on these titles? I mean, I guess if anything, now's the perfect time. I'll get into more details about these games in separate vids for sure, but for now I just wanted to mention them as they really are impressive and worth trying out. But let me know if you've played any of these Power Instinct games. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the collections mentioned, I mean. And what collections are you mostly interested in? Mention that shite in the comments, because you never know if the right person ever watches this and turns to the comments section to see if there's enough interest in any of them. But with that said, that's it for the video. Special thanks to my patrons. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you want to see some more weekly content, then hop over to my Patreon where I post exclusive content, exclusive vids, updates on current projects, and the latest artwork based on the comics I've been working on. You can also show your support by getting a hold of the channel merch. Yeah. I also opened up a new Twitter account to post artwork and memes, so there's that. Anyways, I'll see you all next time, and remember to have an awesome day.